Hello, hello. We there? You guys here now? Everyone. Hey Emily. Hey Jay Suarez. Hey Amy. Hey Morgan. How are we? So I just spent 10 minutes talking to myself. I was like, this is a bit weird. Hey everyone. Hey Tracker 3. That's better. Okay. Hey Joy. Yeah, so OBS broke and let me grab the link so that yeah, I just changed it, Morgan, so that should come up now. Let me go back to Facebook and fix everything because that link will be broken now. Oh my gosh. Fun times. Fun, fun, fun. How is everyone? Is everyone having a good day or night where they are? I'm not going to lie. I'm exhausted. I barely slept last night because my back is so bad at the moment. I have some slip discs in my back. So I didn't sleep much and then I kind of overdid it today. So I'm just relaxing now and getting sorted. Let me just pop this in the groups and then I will stop. If you don't mind sharing this out, that would be great as well, because I know that a lot of people were interested in discussing true crime books that they love. It's something that I adore. I love reading true crime books, and I've read actually a few. I was going through a list whilst none of you heard me. I was actually going through a list of books I've read, so I'm excited to go through that with you and actually have you here, because I felt like I was talking to myself, because I was. Now let me go back to chat so I can see you all. There we go. Perfect. Okay, welcome in everyone. Hey Montana Sky. So true crime books. I remember reading my first true crime book when I was little. So my mum was very, very big on us reading. And so I read a lot and all the time. But I remember reading A Dingo's Got My Baby when I was maybe 10. And it's a book about Azaria Chamberlain, who was killed, we think, by a dingo, and it's from her mother's point of view. I'm going to follow that case and actually do a whole video about the Azaria Chamberlain case, because it was very kind of fascinating here in Australia, because everyone blamed the mother and said the mother killed Azaria, but it's pretty obvious that the dingo actually did take the baby. So I read that when I was little. That was my first true crime book. And I've actually got it as a book I want to reread this year, because she's actually added to it. And a lot of people now realize how wrong they were. And so I think she's added some more insight into it. Hey, Renee. So that's I think it was my first true crime book. It's the first one I remember. Tracker 3 says that their first true crime mystery book was Nancy Drew. I don't think I ever read Nancy Drew. I don't remember reading Nancy Drew. I remember reading a lot of Choose Your Own Adventures books and a lot of Babysitter Club books, and I actually still have them. I was collecting the entire series. I was an avid reader. And Harry Potter, the first Harry Potter book came out when I was 10. It was perfect. And I remember my librarian at school, yes, I was one of those kids. She said, this book is going to be really big. And she was right. Joyce says there was a case, Dr. McDonald, military doctor, who blamed Manson-like killers for killing his pregnant wife and 3 little girls. The book was heartbreaking. I visited the barracks where it happened. That sounds interesting. Are dingoes like wolves and coyotes in that they are predators? Yes. And I do think it was either last year or the year before. I feel like it could have been last year that a dingo actually did attack and try to take a 2-year-old boy. And I think that a lot of people after that were like, oh, it actually really does happen. Because I think that, I mean, I was really young when it happened, but I think a lot of outsiders, and if you figure out what that is, can you let me know? Because I have him down to do a video about him and I want to do some reading first. So I don't know how we sort of get into the books. I use Goodreads and I've used it since 2015. It's a reading app that every year you set a reading goal. So you could want to read 10 books, 20 books, 100 books. I've actually done that one year. I read 100 books. It was insane. It was way too much. Ended up reading 109 books that year. But so I use Goodreads, so I can actually go back and look at my past challenges and see what books I've read. I don't know whether we have a little look at that or whether we sort of just chit chat about what books we enjoyed the most. Remember the case about the dingo? I definitely will be covering that case. Yes, they did find the baby's clothes. They did, with blood on it. Let me see if I can find a photo, actually. Found it. I mean, it's just, to me, it's just so obvious now that, the mother was completely innocent. And I just feel really bad for her because she ended up going to jail over this. I think she actually moved to New Zealand because of what happened and that everyone was just being so awful to her. So this is it'll come up for you in a second. This is what Azaria was wearing the night that she disappeared. And obviously you can see that there's a lot of blood. So the father, Michael, has passed, but Lindy, the mother, is still alive. Let me find chat. I know, Morgan. I just typed in true crime books and that was one of the first images that came up and I've read a couple of them. Let me see if I can go back and have a look at my own. I'll put the image up in a second so we can look. We knew about that case in California, but I believe it was because of the movie. I watched the movie again not so long ago. The Playboy Bunny murder was good. Really, he was crazy. Do you remember the name of, is it that just the name of the book? I listen to more as audiobooks, but the same difference. Yeah, so I listen to a lot more audiobooks now than I used to. But at the moment, I'm just about to finish To Kill a Mockingbird. I haven't read it in a couple of years, and it's one of my favorite books. And it's really nice to like lay down and actually have a physical book in your hand as well. And then after I finish that, which I'll finish it today, I'm actually going to read My Son the Killer, which is about Luca Magnotta. So I will definitely let you guys know how that book is. When did he die? So Michael died in 2017 and he actually died in a hospital like half an hour away from me. He lived near me. He was actually a teacher near me, actually. Not at the same school I was at though, which is really interesting. But I do really want to dive into that case and do a true crime spotlight on it because it's really fascinating. It's really fascinating the way that the media turned on them. And I mean, the fact that she ended up in jail over it, it kind of really sucks. Now let me pop that image though. Yeah, the brothers Grimm, Hansel and Gretel. That's crazy when you know about what really, you know, you look at fairy tales and they're all so fractured, and we tell those to the kids, and nursery rhymes as well. There's a huge, when you listen to nursery rhymes back, you're like, why were we singing that to children? My physical books are on my tablet. I need a variety. Yeah, I have so many books around my room that I was like, I can't justify buying any more physical books. So I do buy a lot of ebooks now. So let's have a look at the image that I put up for the thumbnail. Let's see what you guys have read from this. So let me know in the comments what you have read. So for me, from the books that I can see, I have read Anne Rule's The Stranger Beside Me. That's just like a must if you're interested in true crime. The Devil's Knot is an absolute must if you are interested in the West Memphis 3 case, which is probably one of those iconic cases to me. It's the case that really got me into true crime as a teenager. Columbine by Dave Cullen is incredible. It says on Goodreads that I've read it, but I don't remember it. So I'm going to reread it because I really don't remember it. Helter Skelter by Vincent Bugliosi. He was actually the prosecutor of that trial, of the Manson trial. That's a really great book. It's really detailed. And the Devil in the White City. I've read that book. That's about H.H. Holmes, who created that really crazy building with all these secret rooms, and he tortured people in that hotel that he created. It was good. It was. I'm not really a fan of books that are very historical though. I don't know, it's just me. And then the other book on here that I have read is I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara. And I'm going to say that that is the best true crime book I have ever read. And it is profound and incredible. And it's a must-read book for anyone who is interested in true crime. It is about the Golden State Killer. Tragically, as Michelle was writing this book, she actually died. So the book was finished by a couple of her friends. But the way she writes is just so incredibly beautiful. So beautiful. Hey, David again. So what books have you read that are on the screen? Have you read any of them, guys? Hey, TL Hodge. In Cold Blood, I didn't, oh, I've just gotten breaking news. You guys want to know breaking news? I actually have the statement that has been Fotis Dulos' family has, hey, Miss Justice, Fotis Dulos' family have just given a statement. Okay, so I will read you the statement from, it's really long. The statement from Dulos' family, and then I'll pop it up in the group so you can read it yourself. Welcome in, everyone. We're doing a really relaxed, chilled stream today. We're just talking about true crime books that we've read that we loved, recommending books to each other. I think we'll do this every like 6 weeks, 2 months or so, and see what books we're reading and what books we like. David, you have to read I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara. It is the most incredible book ever. Everyone's telling me about Party Monster, Morgan M, and the movie. Okay, so let me break some news. This is the letter. Jay Suarez, you should try audiobooks on Audible. I listen to books whilst I cook or clean. Okay, so this is it's long, guys. The press release statement from the Doulos family. Suicide, the last word anyone who knew Fotis would associate with him. Caring and nurturing father, son, brother and uncle, achiever, hard worker, fighter, loyal friend, accomplished sportsman, bookworm, a great cook, unparalleled host. This was Fotis. He would walk into a room and immediately light it up. He was the man everyone wanted to befriend. Fotis was a loving man, much loved by those who actually knew him. We, the family of this great man, feel let down by the state that pursued and harassed him, and us relentlessly and with no mercy, without ever giving him or us a chance to speak our truth and to share with a world that was too quick to call him a monster our story. We feel devastated that a man only 52 years of age found himself in a dead end where he saw taking his own life as the only way to be granted peace. We are enraged with the media that used him to make sensationalistic headlines, thus manipulating public opinion. The media abandoned the presumption of innocence, seeming heedless of the effect its reporting would have on the children in this case. We are shocked at how law enforcement obsessively focused with speculation and circumstantial evidence on an innocent man and turned their back on finding the real perpetrator of this tragedy, who is now at large, still a threat to public safety. Words are not enough to describe our thoughts, emotions, and sorrow. Will the state now investigate the circumstances that led to this horrible end? A family court system lacking accountability? Lawyers and so-called professionals bleeding the estate of Gloria Farber whilst destroying in the name of justice to publicly release the family relations study in the family case. Fotis had no motive to kill. We demand nothing less than the whole truth and nothing but the truth. We urge the state to recalibrate their investigation and work towards solving this tragic mystery. We urge the media to understand their destructive role in this turn of events. Even now, a court-appointed receiver hawks private pictures of the site of Fotis' suicide to a press that cannot seem to get enough of this tragedy. We call the public to pause and reflect after truly spending time reading what paltry evidence was brought against Fotis. What has become of the spirit of fair play or the presumption of innocence? What crazy lust inspires the haters? We had contemplated burying Fotis in Farmington, but fear desecration of his grave. We will remove his remains to Greece and bid farewell to a nation at war with its ideals. We live in times of instant gratification and a world thirsty for bread and circuses, where reflection and the pursuit of truth are massacred in the name of fast consumption, scandal, and sensationalism. Fotis was the victim of his sickening zeitgeist. Fotis was the victim of this sickening zeitgeist. We ask that you pray for his 5 children and our family. We ask that you pause and reflect on how it is possible that, in today's United States of America, a man sought justice and peace by hooking up a pipe on his exhaust and walking into his car to meet his death surrounded by pictures of his 5 children. We pray that God grant us strength to forgive everyone responsible for this sickening farce. Are we bitter? Yes. We lost a much-loved and lovely man to a form of mass hysteria. Fotis was no killer. Now he is dead. The case involving Jennifer's disappearance has not ended. In some respects, it now begins anew. So, that's the statement. I'm trying to collect my thoughts. Because they're blaming us. They're blaming the media for his death. They also talk about how they haven't had a chance to speak, and the fact is that Doulos lawyered up. He had a chance to speak to police if he was innocent, and he didn't do that. So Wow. I cannot, I don't have words. I really don't. Don't. I had a feeling that they would do that, that his remains would go to Greece. So, you know, that's interesting. So, yeah, another stream talking about Fotis. Seriously. Yeah, it's just, it's unbelievable. Let me quickly, put this in the group in case anyone wants to read it. I'll put it on my, page as well. He did this all to himself, yeah. And then trying to make us feel bad for it, please. It's our fault that he died? No. Okay, so let me just put this in the group for you guys and then we can go back to books. Okay. Yeah, bad joke, Miss Justice. I'm not going to say that out loud, but I did laugh. Okay, so what true crimes, is anyone reading any true crime books at the moment? I haven't got any started, but I will be reading what's it? My Son the Killer. It's a book in part written by Anna Yorkin, who is Luca Magnotta's mum. So that's I'm just about to finish To Kill a Mockingbird. So after I finish that today, I'm going to start that. I also really do want to, I haven't read it, and for some reason I'm really interested in reading Letters from Christopher because it's such a car crash as well. I mean, it could be possible, Jay Suarez, that he did drug her, but I don't think that's the case. I don't know. Renee says, and his note saying that he, Michelle, and the previous attorney, Mawini, are innocent. Then who did it exactly? I watched all the Paradise Lost movies, but I'm mostly through Devil's Knot. Oh, are you reading it now? So when I was about 14, 15, I was sick all the time and home from school, and I first saw Paradise Lost on TV. It would have been the early 2000s I saw it, and I got hooked to that case, and so I have all of the Paradise Lost movies here. I have The Devil's Knot. I have the West of Memphis documentary. That's really, really good. I've read, obviously, Devil's Knot. I've also read, what is it called? Life After Death by Damien Eccles. That's a must read. It talks a lot about his childhood and all of that, but it also talks about going through the trial and then life in prison and then afterwards. So I would really recommend that as well. I'm very fascinated by the West Memphis 3 case. Tia Hodge is reading Conviction by Juan Martinez. Let me Goodreads that and see. I don't know what that's about. Oh, it's about Jodi Arias. Well, I'm putting that on my want to read list. So I don't know if you guys use Goodreads, but I'm obsessed with it. That's how I track what I'm reading, and books that I want to read. That looks really good. So it was written by the prosecutor who convicted Jodi Arias. That looks really good. How is it? Do you like it? You're a few chapters in, but it's good so far. And that's like Helter Skelter being written by Vincent Bugliosi, who was the prosecutor in the Manson and the family cases as well. Yeah, I really love Audible. Hey Kime, how are you? So I just read a book called Trust Me, I'm a Junior Doctor. They're really good. There's a lot of former doctors who use their notes from when they were working as doctors and write books about it, and they're kind of funny. So I've been reading those. But hey Gingerlocks, how are you? And I'm going to read another one. But when it comes to true crime books, I kind of like reading them myself instead of listening to them. I don't think I've ever listened to a true crime book. I should though. By L. Kirk Nurmi. Interesting. Ooh, Joy Lang. Hey Denise, how are you? Joy Lang says, I read Marcia Clark and Darton's book about the OJ trial. That would be interesting. Hey Murderino. Yeah, that would be really interesting. Oh, congrats, Kim. So I also read a lot of books about women who had been kidnapped and imprisoned and then had escaped. So JC Dugard, I've read her. I think she has 2 books. I've read both of those. Elizabeth Smart's books, and then the 3 Cleveland women, Gina DeJesus, Amanda Berry, and Michelle Knight. I've read those books as well. They're really good. JC Lee Dugard's book is very full on. She was imprisoned for 18 years, had 2 children with the man, and it's really full on, but I just found it very inspiring. It's really hard to read or to listen to because of what she went through, but the fact that she survived and that she escaped is just it's just a miracle. So if you join Audible as well, I wish I could get an Audible sponsorship. Honestly, I use it every month. I think you get a free book when you sign up to Audible. And the other great thing about Audible is that if you start listening to a book and you're not jiving with it, you're not interested in it, you can actually return it and get your credit back. And I've done that twice. Once I did it because I really wasn't interested in the book, and the other time I did it is because I started listening to it and then realized it would probably be better to read because it had like asterisks for different things in the book and whatever. I'm obsessed with listening to podcasts as well. I haven't been listening to as many podcasts as I have listened to audiobooks because I really want to read more this year. I'm actually listening to Dr. Phil's podcast his true crime podcast though. I'm listening to the season about Kyron Horman, which is a really interesting case. I use my tablet, my iPad for reading. I use the Kindle app or iBooks. Murderino, what podcast? Obviously, we know the first podcast that you like, but for me, I love, obviously, my favorite murder. I haven't listened in months, though. I'm so behind on my podcasts. I love True Crime Garage. I really love. I enjoyed the Dr. Phil one as well. I like his take on things. Let me see what else I've got. Let me open my app. You haven't listened to, you need to listen to Smooth Criminal. Tori here on YouTube does like a 10-15 minute podcast once a week, and it's about criminals who are quite dumb. It's really funny. Oh, The Murder Squad. I haven't listened to that in a while. And then Australian wise, I really love Australian true crime. Yeah, Emily just said that. That's really good. It has a different perspective on crime because it talks to the people that were involved in the crimes and gives you more of a personal feel instead of just sort of discussing the crimes. They talk to sort of people who were involved, so it makes it sort of feel more personal and real. I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad that you said that, Murderina, because I haven't listened in months because things just changed and they got so big and it's just not the same. And they basically just sort of, to me, it just, you know, I don't know. I did. Oh my gosh, Morgan, I hate you. Paul Holes was a surprise guest. Amazing. I have seen My Favorite Murder live. I actually, the live that I saw is actually the live from Enmore. So it was the show after the infamous Melbourne show. And I had no idea what had happened until just before the show, and then someone told me. So that was interesting. How long ago did you look, Jay Suarez? That's interesting. I've done some research into Jennifer Kesse. That's interesting. I'll make sure I write that down as well. So let me go through my Goodreads and see what books I've read. Go back to the beginning. First started using Goodreads 5 years ago. So I mentioned about all of those women that were kidnapped and then held. What else? What else is in my Goodreads? I'm just scrolling. I think that's what I mostly did in 2015, I guess. Let's look at 2006. Actually, I don't think I read many in 2006. I've already done this because I did this when in that 10 minutes. I read Smoke Gets in Your Eyes and Other Lessons from the Crematory by Caitlin Doherty or Doty. It's not true crime, but it's about her working in a crematory, obviously, and it's really funny, actually. Apparently I read Columbine by Dave Cullen, but I don't remember reading that, so that's what I'm planning to read in the next couple of months. I read In Cold Blood. I really didn't like it. I just didn't like it. Murderino, whereabouts do you live? I read So Brilliantly Clever, Parker and Hume and the Murder That Shocked the World. It's about two teenage girls from New Zealand, Juliet and Pauline, who killed Pauline's mother. There was a movie about that and Kate Winslet's in it. I think it's like Beautiful Creatures or something like that. So if you're looking for a good book to read, that was really good. It was by Peter Graham. I read a book about Scientology, Leah Remini. That's not really true crime. I read Monster, My True Story by Eileen Wuornos. Anything about Eileen I am interested in. As I said, I read The Stranger Beside Me. I read The Phantom Prince, My Life with Ted Bundy, and it's under the pseudonym Elizabeth Kendall. That was really hard to find, and I was only able to find a PDF. And it's by his girlfriend. And it was only published like once or twice back in the 80s. And so it had like a different sort of take on things. It was particularly full on. This isn't true crime, but The Trauma Cleaner by Sarah Krasnosten is really, really good. As well. Has anyone heard of the Zara Baker case? I have. Is that a little girl? Let me see what else I've read. As I said, I'll Be Gone in the Dark is a must read. You have to read that. Ooh, no, but Morgan, but I'd be really interested in reading those. You're in Toronto, Canada. Oh, Canada, you guys have got so many crazy killers. Like, no offense, but honestly, you guys have got really, really full-on ones. Oh, does the audiobook? Cool. I read the actual it's not is it true crime? Catch and Kill by Ronan Farrow. That was really, really good. I read Evil Has a Name, The Untold Story of the Golden State Killer Investigation by Paul Holes. That's amazing. Chase Darkness with Me by Billy Jensen is kind of to me a must read if you are an internet sleuther, a respectful stalker. The Woman Who Fooled the World by Bo Donnelly. It's about Belle Gibson, who faked cancer and got into big trouble for that. I really want to do a video on her because it's just crazy. And I think that's kind of all of the like true crime books I've read. Oh my gosh, Tracker 3, that's insane. Let me write that down. That case down. Wow. Her dad and stepmother put her in a wood chipper and scattered her body. They found her prosthetic leg in the trash. That's just insane. Wow. No words. So yeah, my plans for true crime books I'm about to read. I'm going to read the Luca Magnotta mother one. Apparently he's not talking to his mother anymore, so whatever. And then possibly Letters from Christopher. And then I'm going to try and read Columbine and see if I remember reading it, because I don't. I also really want to read Sue Klebold's book. So she's the mother of Dylan Klebold, who was one of the Columbine shooters. I've wanted to read it for years and I just keep passing it on my list. So I do really want to read that. What about you guys? What books are you looking forward to reading? Is there any true crime books that are coming out that you're interested in? Why do you feel bad, Morgan? I love talking about books to read. And I just love reading. I think it's really therapeutic. I feel like there was something I was meant to mention in this live, but I haven't. Yeah, I think Murderino, our justice systems are the same because they're sort of like the British sort of version. So when someone gets life, it's 25 years. It's not really life. Oh, that is one. That's what I wanted to mention. Today, so I don't know if you remember, but early-ish last year, I covered the Sydney CBD stabbing, where Michaela Dunn was killed by a Mertney, and he had court today, and his trial is going to start. Let me just confirm. March. And I really want to cover that because the media here in Australia, it's an Australian case, obviously, but the media here in Australia really portrayed Michaela in a bad light because she was a sex worker. And they said that she was killed because she was a sex worker, but that's really not the case. Another woman was almost killed that day walking on the street. So that's definitely a case I want to continue to cover as well. Yeah, Joe Suarez, I heard that the author plagiarized Letters from Christopher because they pulled that book from everywhere and the publishing house stopped producing it, I believe, because of that. So I kind of want to read it because I hear that it's a bit of a car crash. Serial's brilliant. I loved Serial. Someone Knows Something is an incredible podcast. They did a couple of different seasons. Let me just quickly check my app. Not Dr. Death. What's it called? Dirty John is a must listen to. I know they had a series, but on Netflix, but you have to listen to the podcast. Where Someone Knows Something. So the first season is about, I think the first season's the one that I enjoyed the most. Oh, so no, that's not right. Adrian McNaughton, I think it was about. I haven't listened to that in ages. But Someone Knows Something is a really great podcast as well. And the Inside Nexium or something like that by CBC, really great as well. I love anything by CBC. It's Canadian, I believe, and even their YouTube channel is really, really good. Dark poutine. I've never heard of that. That sounds fascinating. I really, really want try poutine. We don't have cheese curds in Australia, so. S-Town, yes. Now that's a great podcast. That was brilliant. That was so unexpected, the turns that took. You're going to admit that you bought letters from Christopher? It's okay. It's okay. Look, the thing is that you could probably, a friend of mine suggested I buy a copy so that I could sell it in a couple of years' times for like double the cost, which is probably true. So just say you bought it for that reason. Isn't there a book on the BTK killer? Probably. I just watched yesterday, I had 600 videos to watch on my watch later for YouTube, and I was like, this is just ridiculous. So I went through and deleted a whole bunch. But I had an interview with BTK's daughter up on my watch later, so I watched it and it was really good. I find it interesting watching interviews with killers' family because I just feel so bad for them because they're victims as well. And I know that to some people that's very disrespectful to say because they're obsessed with it, but I guess they were before my time, maybe. I don't know. S-Town, yeah, S-Town's great. Another good podcast from CBC is Wait, There's More. Geez, we're going to be so busy after this. But the great thing though is I think if we, every like 2 months or so, we do a stream and we can chat about what we've read and we can tell people what we thought of their suggestions and things like that. Oh yeah, This American Life is good as well. Zodiac Killer is interesting, but it's very local, so that could be why. BTK's doctor wrote a book. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, I'm writing a list as well. And then you can go back as well if you guys forget to write things down. Don't worry, you can actually watch the replay and take notes. Well. But yeah, I want to read some more Anne Rule books as well. Stranger Beside Me was amazing. There's a couple of other books. She's sort of iconic in true crime. I do really want to make it a mission to read all of her true crime books. Why does Bruce MacArthur sound familiar? Let me just Google his name. I don't think, see, I feel serial killer. I feel like if a crime's really close to you, you don't really want to know about it because it's too close for you. And so mentally, like for me, I cover mostly American crimes and I can sort of say to myself, well, that happens in America. It doesn't happen here. But then when I start covering Australian crimes, I'm like, oh gosh. Toronto Bruce. Yeah, so Bruce MacArthur, if anyone didn't know, between 2010 and 2017, he killed, what, 8 people? 8 men? I have read about this, but because of dating apps. Maybe we should cover that because we have been talking a lot about Kevin Bacon. Maybe it would be good to sort of cover this one, discuss another aspect of the dating apps and how they're dangerous. And then look at the grinder killer in the UK as well. Yeah, he was charged with 8 counts of first-degree murder and he pled guilty to all of them. Sentenced to life imprisonment with no parole eligibility for 25 years. What? For each crime though, right? Let me just double check because that was worded way wrong. So it says on February 8th, 2019, Justice McMahon sentenced MacArthur to life imprisonment with no parole eligibility for 25 years. So it's not a life sentence for each man. It's just they won't let him out, right? I don't understand that. Yeah, I don't have words. A rose for her grave. I haven't heard of that Enroll book. Interesting. I need to read that sentence again. On February 8th, 2019, Justice McMahon sentenced MacArthur to life imprisonment with no parole eligibility for 25 years. Despite this, he felt that the sentence should not be one of vengeance given MacArthur's age and his guilty plea. MacArthur could apply for parole when he's 91, but McMahon said it would be highly unlikely he would be granted parole. The Toronto Sun noted that MacArthur is overweight with type 2 diabetes and is unlikely to live that long. Well, he better not get out. Oh, Emily. One going on here. I want to find out more about where the body parts are, but it's still to come before the courts. Local ones fascinate Morgan. See, there was a case a couple of months ago that there were two cases I could have covered that were local, but I actually didn't go live about them because in both cases I knew people who knew the person who died, and so it was too close to home, and I did not want to get involved in that sort of thing. I didn't know whether it would be safe to be involved in it. So I didn't really. There's one that you've just reminded me of, Emily, which is a daughter who beheaded her mother in Sydney. Actually, I remember that woman's name. Let's see what's going on with that case. I think her name was Jessica Camilleri. Yep, that's her name. See what's happening with. There's a new article. What's the Daily Telegraph? They're only a couple of days old. Woman accused of decapitating her mother with kitchen knives has recovered from horror injuries she sustained on the evening of the alleged attack. So she appeared via audiovisual link in Penrith local court from Silverwater Prison on Friday, and she didn't have the cast anymore. And it doesn't really give much information. But I think she suffers from severe mental health issues. Severe mental health issues, obviously. Wise, let me have a little look. But night TL Hodge, let me have a little look on our Facebook. So it looks like Fotis's legal team is in court. Oh god. I already had it down that he was going to court. Guess I'll have to change. I think that the February one's been, I think Megan's has already been done. They changed the date. So I think I can get rid of that. I'll have to have a little look at what I might do is I might do some research on February court dates and edit the court calendar. Launceston, Tasmanian, Australia, very boring stuff. Well, that's good. That's good. You don't want too much crime. It's, I mean, I wake up every morning and as I'm sort of waking up, I'm reading all of the true crime stuff going on that's gone on overnight in America, and it's just insane. Like someone shared in the All Things True Crime Facebook group about a man who decapitated an 8-month-old. He's been sentenced to death in Belarus. And then there was another thing shared. Let me see if I can. 3 men arrested for sexually assaulting 9 horses, a cow, and goat and dogs. Fun times. All right, so what's everyone going to read now that we've chit-chatted a little bit about true crime books? What's everyone's next book, true crime book, that they're going to read? Yeah, I know. I woke up to those articles. I was just like, I'm not people doing today. That's just insane. Some days you'll find that I'm not online at all, and it's because I need to have a day completely away from true crime. Sometimes I just have the entire day offline, and I'm like, I'm not going into any groups. I'm not looking at anything. I'm gonna look at puppies and kittens and rainbows and unicorns. But so yeah, my next reads are going to be the Luca Magnotta book, and then possibly Letters from Christopher, just for the lols. And then after that, I don't know. But I'm very excited to. Let me see if I can actually share my Goodreads. If you want to add me on Goodreads and see what I'm reading or what I have read, I'll get you the link. I love it because it keeps you motivated to read. See how I do it. Profile. I think this works. I'm going to leave it in the description. Oh. Let me know if it works. The link works. Night, Murderino. Yeah, you can add me. I think you can add me from that link, and we can become friends and we can motivate each other to read. But I think I will leave it there for today. A little bit of a different, more relaxed live stream. And I hope that you got some good book recommendations. I sure did. I probably will go back and read through chat again so that I can write down some more of those books, because, well, actually no, I saved them onto Goodreads, so I'm fine. But I will see you guys soon, probably Yeah, Morgan, I put my Goodreads in the description in case anyone wants to add me as a friend on Goodreads. It's like Facebook for books. I love it. But I'll probably be on tomorrow, so I will see you guys then for another true crime live. So take care until then. Bye-bye. Bye everyone.